This segment of the CU podcast is sponsored by NordPass. We've all been frustrated, Ian, not being able to remember our passwords online, whether we're trying to order, food through a delivery service, banking, credit card, what have you. Well, NordPass takes the stress out of remembering your passwords and provides secure access to all of your online accounts. It syncs across all the devices and platforms that you may use.
With NordPass, you can store all passwords in one place, organize your logins and private notes in a secure password vault, access it all with a single master password. You can share passwords securely. No more password sharing over email, messenger apps, or pieces of paper. Share passwords with the ones you trust safely. And stay safe online. NordPass recognizes suspicious websites so you don't accidentally reveal your sensitive information. It's got important features such as desktop and user-friendly mobile apps, which are not offered by password managers pre-installed on phones, and it has a data breach scanner. Find out if your online account or credit card information has been leaked.
That's more important than ever. Right now, you can get a special offer. NordPass has a deal available on their website. Go to nordpass.com/CU podcast and use code CU podcast to get 50% off a 1-year NordPass premium plan. Again, get 50% off a 1-year NordPass premium plan at nordpass.com/CU podcast and using code CU podcast. This deal is only available for a limited time. Keep your passwords safe and organized with NordPass. Ian,
Pat,
Kickstarter just happened today on 4/20.
Did.
For the Piepacker. The Piepacker is an interesting Kickstarter. You can call it a retro gaming console, but it's being marketed as a multiplayer gaming platform to play retro games with friends on your web browser.
Yes. So it looks like it's in the iteration that they are offering on Kickstarter, it looks like a combination hardware-software platform. I don't think the hardware is necessary to use the software, which I believe people can start using a beta version of it. I think it's today. It's soon. So basically, it seems like an online web portal where you go. You can, if you are signed up and part of Piepacker, they have licensed the actual games for use on this system.
60 plus licensed retro games from NES to PS1. That's how they announced it.
So stuff like Earthworm Jim, Worms, the Worms series, great games. We've talked about them before. I love Worms Armageddon. And then they talk about some newer indie games like Xenocrisis, which I've played and love, and Micro Mages, which was a big homebrew, I believe, for the original Nintendo. So these are games that they've actually gone out and licensed, and you can sign in, start to play them, and it shows in the video. Basically, you can grab a link and send that link to a friend who also uses Piepacker, and you can play multiplayer games online, which is fun. That's a neat idea. It's retro focused. So this isn't something necessarily brand new, but it's focused with a curated chunk of retro style games, basically.
Sure. And looking at the I guess the web interface, it's almost like a Zoom chat with your friends and their faces on the side, and then you get the game in the same window. So the technology itself is like a combination of things that pre-exist. You can do web meetings with people. We got that. You could do online, retro games before, even with emulators. A lot of them have for decades now have had online multiplayer for 8 and 16-bit. So that's not revolutionary. I think it's this commercial package is what makes it, at least to me, interesting, and at least somewhat attractive here.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a list of all the 60 games so we can run through some of them, but it's so far doing NES, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis, besides these licensed games. So that's what's interesting before we can get to the hardware portion. Let's see, you got Descent 2, you got games like Glover, Sensible Soccer. You get some of these ones that you always see like on the the Antstream service in Europe. Some of these ones are probably cheaper to license. Micro Mages, okay, you get a modern homebrew on there. Xenocrisis, like you said, some of the Worms games. Some of their partners, Bitmap Bureau, Pico, Codemasters, again, Mega Cat Studios. So some homebrew and some ones of
Mega Cat do a lot of the like NES and Super Nintendo homebrew games,
and Genesis like Coffee Crisis that came out a few years ago. So these are good games. These are games that are quality. So the base service is, if you want to just do the digital, you can do that on here. It looks like the digital pass is $40, and that gets you You can play online with their advanced premium features for 6 months. So it sounds like that's some form of subscription.
It's a subscription service is what it would be.
For $90 on the Digital Pass Early Bird, you get a lifetime premium membership. So it sounds like that's probably where you want to go if you think that you're going to be holding on to this. And you get, and obviously, you get access to all the games. Here, the base service is 60 plus games, multiplayer with friends online, play with any controller. We'll get into that. Baseline 3D mask collection. I guess, like on a Zoom call, you get masks, things like that. That's not a bad idea. Premium, you get a private server to bring your own games with friends online. Rewind features. So they're putting the emulation features into the multiplayer. That's somewhat interesting to do that.
Yeah.
Early access to new games, I guess if they acquire licensed new games. HD graphics upscaling shaders for supported games. Again, these are all emulation functions. They probably license out pre-existing emulators for these 3 systems. Unlimited save slots and any future advanced features. So their roadmap for this year, and this is supposed to launch in May, because we actually got offered to be beta users on this. I get emails for stuff like this. Not doing it, don't have the time. Local multiplayer, offline mode, gamepad remapping, battle royale mode for some of our games. I guess they'll figure out that for some of the newer games. Speedrunning support, controlling certain games directly with camera movements. That's interesting. Matchmaking in ladder for competitive games. That's something unique.
That's cool.
For an emulation sort of system. More console systems supported on Piepacker. And they have ROMs in parentheses, which is interesting. Okay, that's the digital side for the most part of this. By the way, they claim this platform has been tested by 100,000 users. Okay, so again, the digital is going to launch next month, so they've been working on this. So that's the software side. Now they are offering a hardware component, and being a Kickstarter, they have a working prototype. Yay, a working prototype for a new console. Wow, what a concept, right? Before you take people's money. So that they're basically calling the Pi Reader. So what is this? This looks like to me something similar to other emulation type of consoles, like the Retron 5, where you plug in your card, it reads your ROM, and you can play it.
Yeah, it acts as a ROM dumper.
It's a ROM dumper.
So apparently, what you'll be able to do with this is if a game is not offered on the Piepacker website, you'll be able to use the cartridges. What have they said so far? Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis.
Yes, those are the 3 adapters this will come with.
To basically rip a game, you only need 1 cartridge, and you'll be able to play it. I think it's with up to 4 other people, or whatever the game allows.
Whatever supports.
Yeah, whatever the game allows.
I guess 5 if you're playing Super Bomberman.
This to me is where it gets more interesting, and this is where I'd really need to see it in action to kind of give my opinions on it. If they get to the point where you're able to do this with games and still have it be able to maybe take place or take part in like the rankings and the ladders and stuff like that, if you're able to set up tournaments and stuff like that with the games that you rip yourself, I think it could be really interesting. Especially with like older fighting games and stuff like that, you could see, an interesting online resurgence in some of the older, weirder fighting games that you might have on something like the Super Nintendo or the Genesis.
So the design is interesting. It's very like retro like 50s futuristic look to me. There are 4 USB ports on the front. I'm guessing when they say use any controller, that's where they're technically getting away with it, because there's adapters for all the old retro consoles via USB or straight USB. Genesis and Saturn and N64. You can buy those anywhere, but there's also adapters. Like I use an N64 USB adapter with the real N64 controller when I'm playing the games on an emulator, for example. So that's interesting. There's again retro like space car Jetsons bubble. There's a picture of a bubble on top of the cart, and I don't know, is there some magnetic field that's being protected there? It actually is cute. I'm not saying it's awful that there's a bubble on top. It's almost like I don't know why they didn't have that in the picture. It's a glass dome though. It's glass, like a pie topper, like a pie tray. That's interesting that they would include that. I mean, it looks kitschy and cute. So anyway, what's interesting, like you said, is that you're not depending upon the 60 games that are built in. they must have talked to lawyers about this only needing one cart to play with up to 4 people thing. That to me could get legally hairy if I'm thinking about that.
Yeah, it seems like it could potentially not.
Unless it's only it's only obviously the multiplayer portion.
Sure.
But that could be something I can picture Nintendo being like, we have a Nintendo Switch Online service. Now you're letting someone, even if they own the cartridge, do an online service through your product. We might have an issue with this. But hey, I'm not knocking it. Maybe they talked to lawyers and said it's perfectly fine to do that. I mean, because in theory, it'd be like being on a couch local co-op.
Sure.
One cartridge, all these people. But, you know what I mean? It's approaching a gray area. I'm not saying it is, but...
Well, I think it really depends on what the Pi reader does. If it's actually ripping the ROM, then that's...
That would have to be, right?
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the whole time I'm looking at this,
it's doing emulation stuff.
The whole time I'm looking at it, I'm thinking there's got to be some sort of legally. I don't think what they're doing. Don't get me wrong. I don't think what they're doing is wrong, but no. I could see other companies finding a way to make it an issue.
That's why I said I think you're approaching a gray area when you're allowing someone else to play over the internet a game they don't own, even in a multiplayer fashion.
Right. It's not like someone. It's a little different than someone coming over to your house and sitting down on your couch and playing it.
Yes. Especially when they're providing a product to do that. It wasn't a first-party product. There's also Bluetooth controllers. There you go. And the USB ports at the front are ready for local multiplayer. So there you go. So it's almost like a Retron sort of console.
Yes.
In a way, but with all these awesome online multiplayer features that I can picture. If Ian wants to play his favorite NES game, with me, he can, multiplayer Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat with a cartridge. And yes, you can say again, oh, well, you load up an emulator and do that, but this, you don't understand, people out there that do your retro pies. Most people don't deal with the horse shit. They just want something easy. I don't want to spend more than 1 minute thinking about it. Give me a product I can play it, no hassle, no troubleshooting. I don't want to look shit up. And that's why stuff like the NES Classic was so popular. We don't have the time that other people do. Some people don't have the time to go through that. Give me something that works. I'll pay extra money.
Some people want the easy solution, and they will pay the money for convenience.
Especially
that's why fast food exists.
Yeah, this would be a lot more polished than a fucking Retro Pie multiplayer. You know what I mean? This is going to be polished. This is going to be better than that in theory. So this is what it's going to cost, and it's reasonable. It's reasonable. So the Pi Reader early bird's $100 for this. You get the reader and one console adapter. Okay, so they're going to charge you upcharge you on the adapters. I get that. Whatever they're going to be. I get that. There's only 3 of them that you got to get right now. You get that. That doesn't include any digital. The 160 is probably what you'd want to get if there's going to be the one, because you get the Pi Reader with 2 adapters of your choice, and you get that premium membership for the digital, games and service on top of that. So you don't have to, whatever they're going to do, like a 6 months for 40 or I guess it'd be yearly for $40. So that would probably be more appealing. Or Ian, if we go in together, we can get 2, you get the Infinite, 2 adapters of your choice, not 2 readers. I thought I saw one with 2 readers. The glass dome is extra. Okay. The glass dome is extra.
Okay.
The glass dome is part of this is where it gets silly. If you want your console to look like a 1960s, early 60s pipe platter that you bring over to your neighbors like Brady Bunch, that's $270. You get the glass dome, all 3 adapters, Pi Reader, collector signed cartridges. I didn't see what the cartridges were that you got signed. That's the one. Oh, you get Micro Mages and Xenocrisis cartridges. Okay. That's the one that has all 3 adapters.
Oh, that's neat. If you get both cartridges, that's kind of cool.
I don't need the dome though.
No.
It'll probably look cute, but then you got to take it off and on, and then potentially drop it or scratch it. The dome it's kitschy but not needed. You'd probably go for the $160 one. What does the 3rd adapter cost though? That's all I know. There's only 2 adapters. I mean, it includes one out of the box. Is that what it means? Anyway, so here's the thing about this. This is set. The digital, again, the service, if it's in a beta testing, I'll believe them that they're not lying. That's ready to go, it sounds like. This is going to be assembled. The prototype was ready in April. This is going to be assembled in August, September, and they're going to ship it in October.
All right.
A console that we know about might be shipping with a prototype finished before they took money is going to ship in October. So it sounds like they're already got these parts ready to go. Let's hope that that's what it looks like. So I thought I might hate this at the start. I don't hate this idea. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. I just don't know that I have. We'll see, I guess, how many people adopt it.
I wonder if it'll do better just the digital service versus even the reader hardware. I wonder if people just say, I just want the.
I think the digital service has a shot. I think mass adoption of the hardware is probably unlikely.
You're getting the lifetime digital again for early bird. Well, it's really $100. Lifetime for $100, you're basically buying 60 games plus, and they're going to add more. And those are all online, local multiplayer and online. You're getting the best of everything. Friends, family, but also when you can't see them because you're in a pandemic, but also people that might be in a different state, and you do that. And these are not flash quality games. These are real games that have sold a lot of copies and some have won awards.
Existing games.
Yes.
I think I do like the general idea of it. I like the combination of online matchmaking
Worms
and a Zoom, with faces and stuff like that for Worms.
That'd be funny
a
as
lot
hell.
of fun. Yeah, I can see that as being a good time.
So, all right, well, check out the Kickstarter. It's gonna hit its goal. It literally happened when we recorded this morning. It's at $50,000, and the goal is $75,000. I like these. You know why I like these small goals? They already put the money in development. It's basically a finished product when these goals are so low. Now he's got to produce the rest of them and get it going.
Right.
So they put money and time into this because this the online interface. I'm not saying it took years to develop this, but there's R&D and time and money to put in these the server infrastructure and things like that. So no, I'm kind of surprised by this, how promising this looks. I'm just going to say it.
Well, we will see, won't we? We will.
Why are you sounding so ominous? They got the prototype, Ian. It's right there. They got a prototype.